Event organizers say they hope to continue growing the career fair.
Yeah, the goal next year to include even more jobs and host even more students.
Absolutely. Well, now turning to the forecast, here locally in Raleigh and across the viewing area, we're seeing drier conditions compared to yesterday. Chris, with all those golfers out there, they were really getting it in early.
Yeah, and you have to, especially ahead of this week where we see Debbie just stalling out, at least in close proximity to us. Here's what we're noticing with the storm as of this morning. You see those reds and those purples and blacks. Those are the colder cloud tops, meaning that thunderstorms are punching up into a higher part of the atmosphere, and the storm overall is becoming stronger in those really warm Gulf waters off the coast of Florida. Let's give you the latest path. This is from 5 o'clock this morning. Next one comes out at 11 o'clock this morning. Makes landfall as a Category 1 hurricane on the Big Bend of Florida. And then as we go out in time, you notice that the cone gets bigger, meaning that this represents anywhere that the center of the storm can be. Why is it such a big cone? Why is there such uncertainty? The reason is because it's going to be moving very, very slowly. It's not going to be guided by any wind. That's why our forecast data is having a hard time picking up where exactly it's going to be by mid to late week. These are just two models, and I'm giving those to you as an example, how one has it right over North Carolina, another has it over Georgia. So it goes to show you that we still have quite some time before we can really get into the exact information. That said, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a taste of what the trends overall have been showing. Higher impact toward the coast, no real surprise there. In the yellows, where you could wind up seeing a few inches of rain spread out over 7 days, which would lead to localized flooding. Farther north and west you go, the lesser the impacts would become, especially mid to late week. One of the other trends we've been noticing is that the overall probability for sustained tropical storm force winds is very low. Okay, this is going to spend a lot of time over the Carolinas or Georgia, so it's not going to have that really strong, steady wind for hours at a time. All right, so current view in Durham, Raleigh, and Fayetteville, 76 to 78. Plenty of sunshine mixed with clouds to start out our Sunday. And the same front that gave us all that rain and all that storminess yesterday, it's still overhead, but it doesn't quite have the energy that it had yesterday. So this afternoon, still expecting some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Yesterday, I gave you an 80%. Today, I'm giving you about a 40 to 50%. So not as many between about 2 and 8 p.m., most of which would be near and to the east of the triangle. And then as we head into the nighttime hours, we'll get a good night's sleep. It's not going to be storming out there for us. Good news on that front. And I know a lot of us are trying to take care of some of that yard work ahead of the rain associated with Debbie. Today's not a bad day to do so. Tomorrow's a good day as well. Temperatures mid to upper 80s. Storm chances pretty limited for today and for tomorrow. You'll see that in the 7-day forecast. So it's kind of a gradual process as to how the rain makes it inland from Debbie this week. It's very isolated tomorrow. More scattered showers and storms Tuesday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, at least as of right now, that's when we expect the most rain coming in. That's when we expect the potential for some flooding. Fingers crossed that it can finally skedaddle out of here heading into next weekend. We'll keep you guys posted every step of the way.
Going on for you here on your Sunday. We appreciate you sticking with us. I'm Eric Miller.
And I'm Laura Levine, of course, tracking everything that's going on in the tropics right now. Chris Michaels with us. Chris, I know that you've been very busy with the radar and taking a look at that path.
Exactly. Yeah, we've been busy, and I think we're going to be busy for several days because this thing is not going to be moving very much. A landfall in Florida, north of Tampa. We're expecting that tomorrow morning. Coastal impact in the form of rain. That's going to start tomorrow and Tuesday and then gradually start to move inland mid to late week. The category for our purposes, especially inland, is not really that important. If it's a tropical depression, a tropical storm, it's still going to bring us a lot of rain. This is just what some of the early data is showing, and it is subject to change because this storm is going to stall and meander. Right now, looking at a week total of 4 to 8 inches in the Triangle and Sandhills. But look at those totals just staggering along the coastline, especially of South Carolina and of North Carolina as well. We had storms yesterday. It doesn't really help matters, but that is a great view of a shelf cloud in Lewisburg. Thanks to Roni Lee for setting that through Weather Watchers on WRAL.com. This morning, 78 North Hills. You've seen some some of those fair weather clouds and sunshine. Our storm chances today, fewer and lesser than yesterday. Reason being is we don't have a ton of energy that's riding this front. Notice that's really focused toward the coast. Yeah, we'll see some scattered storms, especially near into the east of the triangle from 2 to 8 p.m., but it's not going to amount to what we saw out there yesterday. I'll show you some of the early forecast models and why they're showing some differences with Debby. That's coming up in just a few.
Well, you just heard Chris talking about it there. Tropical Storm Debby has formed, and much of North Carolina is potentially in that path.
As WRAL's Carly Haynes mentions, she spoke with officials from the state's Emergency Operations Center for more on how they're preparing for the storm.
Rough water picking up at Wrightsville Beach.
But as it starts to lead up, a lot of times we start to see the swell come in prior to the storm, well before the storm.
Raising the risk of rip currents. Wrightsville Beach Ocean Rescue is now flying red flags, a sign the ocean is hazardous and it'll likely get worse over the next few days.
We need access to the beach. We don't want people, going out even knee high. You do go out, you do become in trouble. That's now putting our lifeguards in unnecessary risk to go out and rescue you when, it's been very clear you should not be getting in the ocean.
People here and over at Curie Beach getting in what could be their last chance at a beach day before severe weather hits. Beach officials are working closely with the National Weather Service, monitoring conditions after Tropical Storm Debby formed off the coast. Much of North Carolina is in its path.
So right now, I think we're kind of more in a holding pattern. Waiting to see, what Monday brings before we really start to make any, major preparations.